Great job.
Hey, what's up, guys? Matt Farrell here, and I'm sitting in with my buddy Andrew Patterson, the owner of Avenue Tattoo and Comedy Avenue. What we're trying to do is get the word out about this fantastic club. So, Andrew, give us a rundown. Like, what is the idea behind Comedy Avenue?
The idea is I want a place to do comedy in Lawton, and I think we need a place for everybody to perform. When I started doing comedy, I had to drive to the Looney Bin in Oklahoma City, which is an hour and a half, wait around an hour, do a 4-minute set, and then go to a bar, do another 4-minute set, drive an hour and a half home. So the amount of time invested versus stage time was really hard.
Right.
So I realized we had nothing here, and I started doing this at my other shop, and it went pretty well. So when I remodeled this place, I figured I would make it mimic actual clubs to the best of my ability. The shape is very similar to most clubs. It's a little more shallow, which I actually like. But I just think Lawton needed a comedy club, and I wanted a place to perform and practice and work out ideas and bring a bunch of comics to Lawton. And it's inspired by Comedy Crunch in Dublin. I saw that one time, and it's basically a tiny club in a basement that should have a capacity of probably 40. There like 200 people in there. Like it was nuts. But they have world class comics, like
Yeah.
legitimately some of the best. Like Bill Burr pops in there. I mean,
Right.
crazy high level comics, and it's free. And they give you ice cream, and it's great. And then on the way out, they basically make sure you owe them a tip.
Right.
So we started out with the same general idea. Now we charge $10 for most shows, just enough to cover the comics. We're not really going to make any money off this. Doesn't see enough people to turn a profit and pay the comics.
Yeah.
But it's super fun, and I've been having fun with it. And I think being able to pay the comics something and give them a place to work out some ideas or to perform their first time doing 30 minutes, first time doing an hour, things like that. We've seen some of the best performances here out of comics I know from Oklahoma City and Dallas because it's the right environment. So that's the idea, I guess.
And I agree. I agree.
answer?
Yeah, I agree with that 100%. You're giving something to Lawton that they haven't had in a long time. From what I understand, years ago there used to be a regular comedy night in the old Howard Johnson Hotel up in the banquet area.
Oh,
They would
that's
have a
cool.
comedy night, but that was in the 80s, and the people that ran that aren't around anymore.
Yeah. And then the
So
closest to that was Apache Casino had it for a few years, and then
yeah,
that died at COVID.
yeah, that kind of you know died out too. So for comedy, it's either an hour and a half to Oklahoma City or 3 hours to Dallas. That's people's options. So now it doesn't just make it convenient for the comedians. There's a place right here in Lawton that the people of Lawton can come and see legit comedy shows.
Yeah. And the thing is, like, I think every time I talk to somebody about it, I battle with this myself. Like, if you told me, hey, it's a great little comedy club. Oh, by the way, it's inside a tattoo shop. I would think the same thing most people would think. Like, how could it possibly be as good as you're saying if it's in a tattoo shop? The difference is I do both things. I'm a comedian and a tattoo artist, and I studied how the rooms are shaped. And I asked people like you and a bunch of other comics to just, hey, how big would you make this? Where would you put this? And I tried to really custom tailor it to where obviously it's a miniature version. It doesn't seat 200 people, but it really is built for comedy. So it's kind of a different thing. And just because it's in a tattoo shop doesn't mean it's not a comedy club. So
yeah, I mean, and I've traveled all over and done shows in clubs all over the country. This is a fantastic room for the comedians and comfortable and intimate for the viewers also. It's a fantastic place, and I'm not just saying that because it's kind of become my home base since I live close and because you're my friend. It just really is a great spot.
I appreciate it.
So how often would you like to have shows?
I would like to have shows every single weekend. I'd like to have one every Sunday, so 4 a month. I don't think that's realistic at this point because the amount of exposure we've gotten, we can't fill up the room every time. And having a comedy show with 15 people in here versus 25 is a huge difference. Anything under 15, it's a lot less fun for the comics and a lot less fun for the audience. It's more of a communal experience. You need to be around other people laughing. Part of the fun when I go to a comedy club and watch is seeing other couples reacting to somebody has that bit about this thing their wife does. And then you see that guy going, and then somebody has a bit about the thing the husband does. And she's like, that's part of it. And so without an audience, like not only is it hard for us to perform, but it's a little less fun. So until we have pretty close to, an average of 25 people per show, I don't think it's smart to start doing every Sunday. But once we get there, I'd love to do every Sunday. I think that'd be great.
And I think it's great that you're doing the shows on Sunday because Lawton has historically been a bar town.
Yeah.
So you can't compete with the bars, and you're not even trying to. So what you're doing is you're offering them another day of the week where there's something to do. So they can still do their regular Friday, Saturday, go to the bar stuff. This is another night of the week where there's something offered for people to go out.
The shows are at 7 most of the time.
Right.
So you can be home. Like I get home after, I mean, I say I clean up. You and Brandy do most of the cleanup now. But we get it cleaned up and I'm home by about 9:30 or 10 most nights.
Right.
So it's not like if you had a job where you have to wake up at 6:30 or 7 in the morning, yeah, you might not want to do it every single Sunday, but it's not going to kill you to watch a comedy show, leave here at about 9. Most of the shows are over before 9. Leave here at 9, go home, you're showered in bed by 9:45. And I mean, that should be enough sleep, right?
Yeah, I would think so.
I would hope so.
We operate on a way less than that usually. So.
I'm on 3 right now.
What do you think? What do you think have been your biggest hurdles so far in getting this going?
Getting the word out. Like that's why we're doing this interview video thing right now. I think people don't believe if something's in Lawton, it can be good. And I've had that conversation with so many people. And the crazy part is a lot of great things have come out of Lawton. Right before we started doing this, we were talking about all the cool things that have come out of Lawton. Now, those things usually leave Lawton because not a lot of people in Lawton want to support the good thing.
Right.
Like we've had so many good artists come out of Lawton. There's still some good artists living here. There's incredible things that start in Lawton and leave. Mm-hmm. There's a few incredible things still here. But for the most part, people go, oh, well, it's in Lawton, so it can't be as good as the thing in Oklahoma City. And the example I gave you earlier, you could have the biggest comic in the world and they could do McMahon Auditorium here and they might sell it out one night, but they could sell out a 1,500 seater in Oklahoma City 3 or 4 nights in a row, easy. And they'd have the same amount of people from Lawton, maybe more, driving to Oklahoma City because they believe out of town means it's better.
Right.
Which is insane to me. Again, because like I know we don't have the most beautiful town and there's a lot of things lacking. I'm not at all saying Lawton's perfect, but if you have the attitude that Lawton sucks and it can't get better, then it can't get better.
Right.
So that part drives me crazy. And that's, I think, the biggest hurdle. And then obviously that leads to less people showing up or whatever. But the good news is almost everybody we've had here, with very few exceptions, on their way out, if you talk to them, you don't have to ask them. They tell you how much fun they had. And right. I love that. Like we've the last couple shows, like stood out front and shook hands, talked to people. And the 420 show, it was so fun watching people leave because everybody, I didn't have to go, hey, how was it? They're like, dude, that was amazing. Thank you. Like, yeah. And that's what we're going for. And if you can create something like that in Lawton and then people keep coming back, and I don't need you here every weekend, but like if somebody comes once a month, that's their date night or whatever, they can have fun here and it saves you so much money. You pay $10. You can bring your own alcohol or bring your own food or whatever you want. We don't really care. We'll clean up your mess. You leave here. It's a great date night. You can go to dinner on your way. Where if you went to Oklahoma City, you go to a club with a 2-drink minimum. You might see a comic that you already know who is that you think is better. But some of these comics that nobody's heard of are neck and neck with some of the best in the country. I've seen, I mean, we had Maverick here yesterday. He's incredible. We've had so many comics here that I would say if you took the fame aspect out of it and just said, comedy competition, one-on-one, nobody's heard of these guys, they could beat out half of the people on Netflix.
I would agree with it.
Like it's insane.
Yeah.
It's also really cool.
Yeah. Yeah. It is awesome the amount of talent that you've been able to get to come through here so far. And it's for the most part unheard of.
Yeah.
I mean, amazing talent. And the people who have been here have had something to say about it as far as that guy's funnier than the special we watched on Netflix. So you're absolutely right. And it's amazing.
And I love it. I love it when somebody's like, that guy I've never heard of that has 1,000 Instagram followers is way better than that guy I paid $300 to see when you count the hotel and the traveling and all that. It's like you pay $100 a ticket, you pay to park your car, you get a hotel, you're out a bunch of money. You see the guy I'm not saying those guys aren't funny. There's a reason they're famous, but you're not blown away. And you come into a tattoo shop in Lawton and you get the same exact experience. Yeah. And I'm really proud of that. I'm genuinely happy about that.
As you should be. You've put together an amazing place, and all of the comics that I know who have performed here absolutely love it.
And that means a lot to me too. And we were talking about the seating arrangement earlier. And I do think I put a little too much focus in making it fun for the comics and not enough on the audience. And now I think I found that balance where it's like, I think we figured out what makes the audience love it and the comics. And this is on Facebook. feel free to comment something you think I could do to improve it. We have free popcorn at almost every show. Sometimes we'll have free pizza, free non-alcoholic beverages. We could do something else.
Yeah.
I'm open to ideas.
You bet. All right. So last, let's wrap it up with where can everybody find the list of events and upcoming shows that you have?
Our Facebook page is the best place to find all the events. We have the events. We put an event out on the events page for every single show, and that'll have a ticket link on it. If you don't use Facebook, you can go on Instagram, and we'll at least post the flyer. And then in our bio, there's going to be a link to something to get your tickets. And we share on the story constantly with clickable links there too. Yeah. So if you don't know how to get a ticket, you can always just show up a little early and you'll probably be fine. But I would recommend going to the Facebook events page, buying your tickets early, and then showing up between door time and showtime, not right at showtime. And that's how you get a good seat. So
it's a big help.
Yeah.
So guys, if you haven't made it out to Comedy Avenue yet, you've got to get down here. It's 1126 Northwest Cash Road. Get down here and catch a show on Sundays. They start at 7:00. You'll be home in bed in time. Thanks, Andrew.
Thank you.